You are 23, standing at a hardware store counter waiting for a key to get cut, a spare for your mom's front door, because you're the one who ends up with the spare now. Nobody ever officially decided that, it just happened. You watch the machine grind a copy off the original, and you think, not for the first time, that you can't actually remember when you became the person people call first. It didn't happen on any specific day. There was no ceremony. You just quietly became the family's go-to person, the same way you quietly started your first real job that year and, almost as an afterthought, checked a box on a form contributing 6% of your paycheck to a low-cost total market index fund inside your 401k. Nobody applauded either decision. Nobody even really noticed. You are 24, 1 year in. You've contributed $9,000. The account says $9,337. $337 appeared that you didn't work for, sitting quietly next to a checking account balance that never feels like enough. A friend from college buys a truck that year, financed over 6 years, payments bigger than your rent. You keep driving the car you've had since high school and keep sending the same percentage in every 2 weeks, and nobody in either decision feels like the interesting one at the time. There's an uncle in the family, Uncle Ray, who everyone has always quietly considered the wealthy one, the one who paid for the bigger Christmas gifts, who always seemed to have it handled. Ray's money sits mostly in CDs and a whole life insurance policy a salesman convinced him he needed 30 years ago, earning just enough to keep pace with inflation and not much more. Nobody in the family knows that yet. For now, Ray is still the guy with the wallet, and you're still just the guy with the spare key. You are 28, 5 years in. $55,108 on the screen. You've put in $45,000. The other $10,108 grew on its own, quietly, the way it always does. You're not rich, you don't feel any different day to day, but you notice, in a small way, that you've stopped checking your account balance before buying groceries. You are 32, 9 years in, $118,072. $81,000 of that is yours. $37,072 the market added for free. Your sister calls that year, the transmission on her car just died, $1,900 she doesn't have. You don't think about it for more than a few seconds before sending it. It isn't generosity exactly. It's just that the number in your account and the number she needs happen to both exist, and one of them can quietly become the other without you feeling it. You are 33, 10 years in, $137,210. The market falls apart that same year. A real, ugly downturn, the kind where every headline uses the word crisis and everyone you know starts checking their accounts daily. A friend sells everything near the bottom, certain he's protecting what's left. You don't sell, you don't even think about selling, the contribution just keeps leaving your paycheck automatically, the same as always, buying more of the market while it's cheaper than it's been in years. 18 months later, your account has fully recovered and kept climbing. Your friend, still mostly in cash, watched the whole recovery happen from the sidelines. You are 35, 12 years in, $180,381. A close friend calls with an opportunity. A restaurant he wants to open, $30,000 to get it off the ground. A business plan he's clearly poured himself into. You say no to the investment. You can't unsee the math, and the math doesn't work. You do offer him $5,000 as a gift, no strings, no expectation of it coming back. He's grateful, then a little hurt you wouldn't go further, and something between you shifts slightly that never quite shifts back. The restaurant closes 18 months later. Being right didn't feel like winning anything. You are 39, 16 years in. Your contributions sit at $144,000. Your growth sits at $146,407. For the first time, the money you didn't earn is worth more than the money you did. Nobody hands you a plaque for it. A line just gets crossed on an ordinary week, and from here on, the invisible half of what you have is doing more of the lifting than you are. If nobody's ever walked you through this exact math before, that's the whole point of this channel. Hit like right now so it reaches someone before their version of this moment, because the responsibility is about to get heavier, not lighter. You are 43, 20 years in, $441,765. Your mother needs memory care that year, the kind insurance covers a fraction of. You handle it without turning it into a family meeting, the same way you've handled everything else. Quietly, because that's simply become your role, and nobody ever formally assigned it to you. You are 45, 22 years in. $537,591. Uncle Ray calls, the wealthy uncle, confused by a stack of Medicare paperwork he can't make sense of. You spend an evening on the phone with him, walking through it line by line. Somewhere in that conversation, without either of you naming it, the role quietly changes hands. The person who can say yes, who can handle things, isn't Ray anymore. It's you. Nobody announces it. It just is now. That same year, a friend mentions his financial advisor, and the fee, just 1% of assets under management, he says, like it's nothing. You do the math on what 1% a year actually costs over decades, and don't say anything, because it isn't the kind of thing that makes for a comfortable conversation. Your own index fund runs an expense ratio of 0.03%. The difference between those two numbers, compounded over 30 years, is not a rounding error. It's a second career's worth of money, quietly kept by someone else's fee structure instead of his own account. You are 50, 27 years from that hardware store counter. The portfolio reads $856,035. You've contributed $243,000 of your own money across nearly 3 decades of paychecks. The other $613,035 you never worked a single hour for. You still drive an older car. You still live in the same kind of house you always have. Outwardly, almost nothing about your life looks different than it did at 30. But your keyring has more keys on it now than it used to. Your mother's, your sister's, a spare to a place Uncle Ray keeps forgetting the code to. Each one isn't a symbol of what you own. It's a symbol of who trusts you to show up when something breaks. And it turns out that's what being the richest person your family knows actually looks like. Not a bigger house, not a nicer car, just being the name that comes up first when someone doesn't know who else to call. You never told any of them the number. You never needed to. They already knew you'd say yes, they just never knew why you always could. If this is the kind of quiet wealth nobody ever explains to you, that's what this channel exists for. Subscribe, and let's make sure you're the one building it, not just relying on it.